Good evening and welcome to the news at 10. Israel today killed at least 52 Palestinians at the Gaza border. About 2,200 other Palestinians were wounded. Tens of thousands of Palestinians were protesting in the Great March, a march of return at the Gaza border when Israel turned the demonstration into bloodshed. A Palestinian Health Ministry spokesman said the dead included 6 children under the age of 18. Among them was a medic and a man in a wheelchair who had been pictured on social media using a slingshot. Yet the Israeli military said those whom they killed were armed militants. Head of International Committee of the Red Cross ICRC subdelegation in Gaza, Gillian Devorn, called on Israel not to harm Palestinian civilians and avoid casualties. He said that every loss of life is a great loss that cannot be measured in numbers, but in the loss of lives of children, mothers and fathers. Today marked the highest death toll in a single day since the protests began on March 30th. Upon the escalation in violence in the Gaza Strip, His Majesty King Abdullah ordered the Jordan Armed Forces Arab Army to reinforce the Jordanian military hospital there with the needed medical supplies and staff so it could provide medical care to Palestinians injured by Israeli forces. The Jordanian military hospital started its operations in Gaza in 2009 upon royal directives in order to alleviate the suffering of the Palestinian people. The cabinet expressed its strong condemnation of the serious Israeli escalation against Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. Prime Minister Hani al-Mulki said Israel's use of excessive force against the Palestinian people constitutes a clear violation of their legal, political and humanitarian rights, which are guaranteed by international laws and norms. The cabinet also renewed Jordan's rejection of the U.S. president's decision to relocate its embassy to Jerusalem. Minister of State for Media Affairs Mohammed al-Momani also strongly condemned Israel's escalation against the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. The minister blamed Israel as an occupying power for what he described as a crime with its excessive use of force against unarmed Palestinian demonstrators. Momani urged the need to find a solution to all final status issues, including the refugees' dilemma, in accordance with the UN Resolution 194 and the Arab Peace Initiative. He also urged the international community to assume its responsibilities to protect Palestinians from Israeli attacks. Israel's killing of Palestinians at the border protest has also drawn regional and international criticism. The Palestinian Liberation Organization called for a general strike across the West Bank and Gaza tomorrow, which marks al-Nakba's 70th anniversary. Egypt strongly condemned Israel's targeting of Palestinian civilians in the Gaza Strip and rejected the use of force against peaceful marches, while Turkey accused Israeli security forces of carrying out a massacre, adding that the U.S. was an accomplice in a crime against humanity. EU Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini said the EU expects all to act with utmost restraint to avoid further loss of life. And the UN Rights Chief demanded an immediate end to the Gaza killings and called on the international community to bring those responsible to justice. And as Israel intensified its aggression against Palestinians in Gaza, the United States opened its embassy to Israel in Jerusalem, fulfilling U.S. President Donald Trump's pledge while recognizing the holy city as Israel's capital. The U.S. president was represented at the inauguration ceremony by his daughter Ivanka and his son-in-law Jared Kushner, who is the U.S. envoy to the Middle East. Attending the gathering were also representatives from Hungary, Romania and the Czech Republic, but none from Western European Union states. Minister of State for Media Affairs Mohammed al-Momani said the opening of the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem and America's recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital constitute a clear violation of the UN Charter and international legitimacy resolutions, especially Security Council Resolution 478. These resolutions, he added, affirm that East Jerusalem is an occupied territory and Jerusalem is a final status issue. He added that Jordan rejects the U.S. decision as null and void with no legal effect, saying the decision was condemned by Jordan and rejected by most world countries as 128 states voted against it at the UN General Assembly. Momani stressed the need for concerted international efforts to resolve the Palestinian-Israeli conflict and said Jordan is continuing work with the Palestinian National Authority, its Arab brethren and the international community to protect Jerusalem and its holy sites and deal with the repercussions of the U.S. decision on Jerusalem. Arab and world leaders also condemned the U.S. transfer of its embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. The Arab League Council is to hold an emergency meeting on Wednesday to discuss ways to counter the illegal U.S. decision. Egypt said the embassy inauguration is a clear provocation to the feelings of more than 1.5 billion Muslims. Morocco rejected America's recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital, saying it is an unaccepted unilateral action. While Turkey said the U.S. had lost the role of mediator in the Middle East after its decision to move its embassy. Britain said it disagreed with the U.S. embassy move, its recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital before a final status agreement, saying its embassy will remain in Tel Aviv, while Russia voiced concern over the worsening situation in the region. Back here at home, His Majesty the King, the Supreme Commander of the Jordan Armed Forces Arab Army, followed up on a tactical exercise by the Public Security Department's Investment Protection Unit at the King Abdullah II Training Center in Muaggar. The unit was set up to attract investment and is responsible for implementing, securing and meeting all forms of protection and security needs for investment and investors. His Majesty, who was briefed on the drill and ways to deal with potential security situations, viewed the various exercises including live fire, fitness and martial arts, as well as aerial landing from PSD aircraft. The King expressed his satisfaction with the PSD recruits on their preparedness, performance and abilities in the field. And finally, a look at the weather forecast. It will be cold and humid tonight, sunny and fair tomorrow as temperatures rise to their seasonal average, while winds will be northwesterly moderate. Amman can expect a high of 27 degrees Celsius and a low of 15 degrees at night, while in the Gulf of Aqaba it will be hot with a highs of 33 degrees, dropping down to 21 at night. With this, we come to the end of tonight's news. I'm Dana Abu Sham. Thanks for watching and have a good night.